In today's video, we're travelling from Bristol Temple Meads, trying out Great Western's pretty new Hitachi Japanese Intercity Express train, in first class, all for the sum of £20, down to the English coastline to the picturesque Dawlish, before heading to the tourist hotspot that is Torquay. To start today's journey, we're catching a cross-country service in what is nicknamed the Sardine Can, from Birmingham New Street to Bristol Temple Meads, where we'll pick up the GWR Great Western service as far as Exeter St David's, before catching a local train service to Dawlish, Warren. This will give us a beautiful and extremely picturesque walk along the coastline, over to Dawlish Station before catching another local service to the Hampton by Hilton at Torquay. So this is the first leg of the journey, going from Bristol Temple Meads down to Exeter before changing for a local train to go and see the famous Dawlish coast. Quite excited about that. On every occasion, laughter in hours of... So this is the original building that was opened in 1840. Unfortunately, the station needed much more capacity, so it had to outgrow this. And this is today a car park. Most passengers will enter through here into what is still a very beautiful building, designed by British engineer Isambard Kingdom Brunel. Bristol is a busy hub with long-distance services to Cornwall, London, the far north and local services which I used to catch as a kid to Paddington. Today we're catching the 11:55 service to Penzance as far as Exeter St David's. These Japanese-built IEPs are beautiful, but we'll make sure on this 4-day venture to have a little bit of nostalgia as we ride the Class 43s they replaced. On our fourth video, we catch the very last cross-country HST service all the way back up to Birmingham. Much to look forward to. First things first, I've been allocated, not by choice, seat D01, which is a terrible seat and there's absolutely no window. This won't do, so I've moved myself to D24, which was vacant, so much better. It's worth noting that because this service started in Cardiff Central, complimentary snacks are not provided. If it was from or to London, then it would. I'm not too worried though, as I have plenty of time in Bristol to grab a bite to eat. Booking the ticket was really easy at GWR.com. All you have to do is say where you're going to and from, the date of travel, which will put the 31st, the time of travel, the 11:55, is it a single return, and how many adults or children are travelling. Journey bookings can be made anywhere up to 3 months in advance. Just note on this route, some trains won't feature first class, and some will have as little as 2 carriages. If the service is to or from London, it will have 5, 9 or 10 carriages, and you can guarantee it will be an IEP. Seat reservations are compulsory on advance tickets, so you should be sure to select the option before deciding if you want to pick up the tickets at a station for free, an e-ticket, or in the post, which starts from £1. Standard class looks rather posh and is laid out in a 2-2 configuration, with anywhere between 4 and 8 tables per carriage. Every seat comes with a standard UK plug socket. Just note that as seats evolve, they seem to become thinner and narrower as time goes on, possibly for fire regulations, so any journey over 2 hours could be a little bit uncomfortable. First class, depending on the length of the train, varies. The 9-carriage setup features 1 small and 1 entire carriage of first class seats, which gives plenty of options for sitting. The 5-car version is split over half of 2 different carriages. It feels more intimate, but if you get stuck with a bad seat like D01, you may have no other option available. These seats are really good, they're really plush. Which was a bit of a problem on the economy version because the seats are quite hard, and people reporting that on long distances like 2+ hours they get quite uncomfortable. I've had this myself from Worcester to Paddington. Also revolutionary is the seat reservation system above each seat. Green indicates vacant, amber for part of the journey, and red for the entire journey booked out. It even says where to and from. At this point I could really do with a tea, never mind. Before we arrive into Exeter, you'll probably or not want to see what the toilets are like on this pretty new shiny train. As toilets go, these are extremely modern, if not plastic, clean, and there are some great features like physical handles to lock the door and push handle systems for the soap. Sensors are great, but they are prone to glitching, resulting in soap covered hands with no water, not ideal. The view of a South Western Class 159 diesel train from London Waterloo out the window could only mean we're arriving to Exeter St David's. If you could hear the announcement, a GWR Class 158 diesel 2-carriage train will be taking me down to Dawlish Warren Station. It's an hourly service, so I'm pleased that the service from Bristol was on time, as the connection is only 8 minutes. Not quite as comfortable as my previous ride, the train is laid out in a 2-2 only standard class setup, and the seats are pretty poor for legroom, being very tightly packed. On the plus side, they've been retrofitted with UK plug sockets. The 158s are looking pretty good despite being over 30 years old, with the first produced in 1989. They've always been a personal favourite of mine, with the very flat and very yellow cab fronts. I may be average height, but I'm pretty sure my legs can survive the journey as it's only 10 miles, taking roughly 18 minutes. Here's a brief view of Exeter Cathedral from Exeter St Thomas's station. As for the rest of the journey, it was mainly lush green fields, before views of the river which lead out to sea. The journey went fairly quickly, and before you know it, we've arrived at the tiny station that is Dawlish Warren.
This is Dawlish Warren.
The station receives approximately 180,000 passengers every year and serves the seaside resort and the holiday camps. It's also a great place to get a famous Cornish pasty. Having arrived into Dawlish Warren, we're taking a slightly longer route under the railway to follow it towards the bridge crossing so we can take in the views, before heading along the coastline, taking roughly 45 minutes and a distance of 2 miles.
This is so beautiful and absolutely worth it. You've got trains on the one side. Right, beach on the left. And obviously it depends on the waves as well. I'm in the summer, so it's not so bad now. But I wouldn't want to be here when the waves are like proper. I mentioned the weather. This retaining wall here is actually brand new, and the reason is because the coastal line just disappeared because of the water. This is really sturdy, really safe. It's the summer, I'm not really bothered. But the line was actually cut off, I think, in 2014.
What I just can't get my head around is how close you are to the trains, and how beautiful the coastline is in the summer. I actually got really lucky here because it's mid-September and the rest of the trip was a very hit and miss with the weather. Having made it to Dawlish Railway Station, I'm leaving the beautiful sea behind and I'm picking up the half-hourly service down to my resting place for the night in Torquay. The majority, if not all, the trains used on this route are British Rail Class 150 diesels, which dates back as far as 1984. What an incredibly reliable train. The final journey on today's trip takes 24 minutes to reach Torquay, and the train continues on to Paynton, covering a distance of approximately 15 miles. In total today, you've travelled with me on 180 miles of route, leaving Birmingham at 8 in the morning, arriving into Torquay about 4 p.m. On tomorrow's journey, in the next instalment, we leave behind the modern trains of today and travel to Totnes to see the South Devon Railway, before getting a very English sausage sandwich at a cafe that used to be a signal box, before heading south to Plymouth to take a ride on the HST Castle Carey set, before staying the night at Moxy. Be sure to hit that like button below and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out. After a very long day though, I'm heading into Torquay Station, before a 20-minute walk along the beachfront into the centre, before taking rest at a very reasonably priced and last-minute booking at the Hampton Inn.